Hello drafters! In this video we're doing a question and answer on the upcoming Procolored X1 UV printing machine. It was a few weeks ago I had done just a general discussion on this machine because it was a very interesting and unique concept coming to the market. It was combining both a UV printer and a laser cutting machine into the one machine. And this drew about many questions from both myself and the community. A couple of weeks ago, I reached out to the community, asked if you have any questions about this machine, and I got a bunch of them. I've put them all together, and then I sent those off to Procolored, and they've answered and sent that back to me. So here we are today doing the question and answer video that I promised. First, I want to thank everyone for providing their questions. Some of them were similar or related to each other, so I had to combine some. So let's get into the first question. Question: when is the Kickstarter launching? So the Kickstarter was originally expected to be launched in early April 2026, but we're already past that date. And I believe what happened was something they needed to improve with the machine. So they held back on the Kickstarter launch to just solve whatever that was. So it's either late April 2026 or early May 2026. And also on that, before we move on, I'll leave links in the description of the video because there are some pre-launch offers for signing up to Kickstarter before it comes out, and it's where you're going to get the best savings if you're interested in this machine. Anyway, next question. What is the smallest print size and can it print on curved surfaces? The answer is the fine detail lines can typically reach about 0.1 to 0.2 millimeters, depending on the material and settings, allowing for small text and intricate designs. It can print on slightly curved surfaces with a height variation within 2 millimeters, and it can also print on regular cylindrical objects. So this is basically saying that if you have an object that has a bit of a curved edge to it, like a canvas or maybe a rock or something like that, the height from the print head to the surface shouldn't exceed more than 2 millimeters. Otherwise, it will probably print, but it'll start to kind of like scatter out and become very hazy. You won't get that quality that you need. Next question. What is the largest object you can fit? The answer is the maximum working area is approximately 300 millimeters by 420 millimeters, which is roughly A3 size. And the maximum object height in the machine can accommodate is 140 millimeters. So this is an interesting point because the competitor on the market at the moment, the Eufy E1, that has a maximum working height of 100 millimeters. And the X tool, I think, is around 140 as well. And having that larger height accommodation allows you to do bigger objects, things like gift boxes and packaging, which you wouldn't normally be able to fit into a smaller height machine. So this does sound like it's going to give you a little bit more room for those tall objects. Question: can the machine be connected to and used via Wi-Fi? And the answer: considering stability and data transmission efficiency, the machine currently uses a wired connection USB. So this is a little disappointing to me that it requires a USB connection for operating it, or at least transmitting data to the machine, running prints and cuts. Maybe that's because you need enough bandwidth to both send information for laser cutting and also UV printing. I'm not sure exactly why the limitation is just a USB. So just be aware if you're planning to get this machine or operate this machine that you need at least a work area where you can set up a laptop near it that is directly connected via USB. Question: what is the maintenance like? And the answer here is broken into two parts. So the first is the UV printing module. The print head cleaning and ink circulation is mostly automated. Regular use helps maintain stability. And for the laser module, clean the working area and lenses, and then also remove dust and residue depending on the materials used. So looking at both parts here, it sounds like the UV printing module has some sort of automated cleaning system. It will circulate and moisturize the print head to keep it in working condition and make sure the inks don't cure, but there will be some maintenance that you need to do as well. And then the regular use helps maintain stability, means that much like the other UV printers, this is a machine that you need to use kind of regularly so that it's always running ink through the system and it's not building up clogs. Now on the laser module, they basically just said that you just need to clean it. General maintenance that you do for a laser machine, which is remove any dust, give it a wipe down, clean the lenses, and then just remove all your offcuts and such so that things don't jam and get stuck, whatever. So Basically like any laser module, it's just general cleaning it, but obviously the laser side isn't automated. Question, is the print head safe from laser fumes and smoke? And can you explain the system to prevent contamination? Answer, the system is designed to minimize exposure of the print head to the laser fumes and particles through a combination of these things. There is a separated workflow usage for laser and UV printing, which are typically not run simultaneously. There are airflow and ventilation systems to direct smoke and fine particles away from the working area, and the physical layout and shielding is inside the machine to reduce the chance of debris reaching the printhead. In normal operation, users will also perform quick cleaning of the work area after laser use and then ensure proper ventilation or fume extraction. Pretty much, in my opinion, just saying that there is a separate system for the laser and the UV printer, and that the UV print head is shielded away from the laser when it's running. So when you're lasering, all that smoke is extracted out, and then you also have that shielding for the print head. And so the normal operating procedure to me sounds like that you'll do your laser cut first. You might need to clean the work area a little bit, make sure there's nothing stuck or jammed in a corner, and then you would run your UV printer. But you also need to make sure that you have proper ventilation and fume extraction in your workshop. Question, and I think a lot of you will like this one. Is the ink proprietary? Answer. The inks are formulated and recommended for use with the machine to ensure optimal performance, reliability, and print head protection. While they are not strictly locked, we strongly recommend using official or approved inks, as third-party inks may affect print quality, adhesion, and could potentially impact warranty or long-term stability. An interesting response, this one, that they are saying that the machine isn't locked to any sort of proprietary ink, and that they just recommend to use official or approved inks. And it's interesting the wording there between official and approved. To me, that sounds like they have their official branded ink that you can use, but then they also have approved inks they can use, but not to use third-party inks if you don't have to. So I wonder what these approved inks are. Is that their own inks for other machines in their catalog, or is there some sort of specific ink for that print head that would be considered approved inks? But I'm sure a lot of people are punching the air in celebration right now that it sounds like the ink is going to be more open with this machine. And that leads into the next question. Is the ink a refillable system or a cartridge system? And the answer is the machine uses a refillable ink tank system, not cartridges. UV inks, CMYK plus white plus varnish, or gloss might be another term for it, are supplied in bottles and poured into dedicated color-coded tanks, making it easy to refill and manage ink levels. I think coming from the Eufimake E1 and having those tiny little 100ml cartridges with the promise that bigger cartridges may come in the future, and you have people basically forcing their own ink into these cartridges and potentially messing their machine just because the ink is so expensive when you're buying proprietary inks like that, and there's a lot of e-waste. It's one of the big drawbacks to the E1, I think, is those cartridge systems. And I think a lot of people would prefer the ink refillable system. It kind of goes back on the previous answer that you can potentially use whatever ink you like or approved inks that we know works in the machine. You don't have to worry about a cartridge running out. You simply just top it up when it gets low. And it's going to probably be a lot cheaper to buy ink in that format as well. You basically just buy a big bottle and you fill in the tank system when it gets low, and that's your supply of ink. I think that is a better system than the Eufimake currently has. And it leads into another question. What volume of ink can you load on the Procolored X1? Answer, each tank has a capacity of 500 milliliters per color channel, which is the CMYK plus white plus varnish. As I was just saying a moment ago, the Eufimake E1 has just tiny little cartridges of 100 mils, and it uses a lot when it's doing its print prep or startup run and when it's cleaning and stuff. and those little cartridges can run out quite quickly. So when you have a refillable large tank system like this, 500 mils would last you a long time, I think. And I just forgot to add the end of this answer, which is because of the 500 mil per color channel, this allows for longer continuous printing and reduces the need for frequent refilling during normal use, which is pretty much what I just said. Question: what laser watt module does the machine come with, and can it be swapped like a diode to IR or infrared? And the answer is the machine comes with a standard 20 watt 455 nanometer blue diode laser for cutting and engraving. An additional 1064 nanometer infrared IR laser module is available in certain packages or as an optional upgrade. During operation, only one laser module can be used at a time. Switching between laser types requires stopping the machine and manually changing the module. If you've ever used a laser at-home system, there are typically two laser modules that you can get. A blue diode laser, which is going to be used for general cutting and some engraving, and then you have an IR or infrared laser, which is going to be better at engraving metal materials. And something that any laser owner knows is that you can't usually have two laser modules together on one machine. When you want to switch materials or use a different laser, you typically have to disconnect one and remove it, and then put the other one in and connect it all back together, and then do your engraving or whatever job you're trying to do. So it definitely sounds like in this case that you just have one module installed, you use that. If you need to use the IR module for some other material, you're going to have to swap that out. And it also mentions in that answer that the IR laser module is available in certain packages, which I'm assuming is when they release a Kickstarter, there'll be different packages, your basic and your deluxe, and or you can purchase that IR module as an optional upgrade down the track. So maybe when the Kickstarter comes out, you buy the basic version that just has the general 20 watt blue diode, and then maybe later you save up and you buy the IR and you have that module as a separate one that you can swap out. And finally, the 20 watt is a pretty good sized diode laser as well. That's going to be powerful enough to do some decent cutting and some decent engraving. Generally, you'll see in the market these days like 10 watt, 20 watt, and 40 watt. But I think the 20 watt is a good point between having a really small laser cutting profile, but also having the power you need as well. Next question: can it print and cut on cardboard and paper? And can it print DTF? And the answer: cardboard and paper. The laser can cut and engrave cardboard and paper. And UV printing can work on coated or suitable paper materials, but very thin or absorbent paper may not be ideal. For DTF printing, the machine does not support traditional textile DTF printing, mainly because it uses UV curable inks, which are different from textile DTF inks. It supports UV DTF, which is used to create transferable stickers for hard surfaces, but not fabric. So here it is saying that no, you can't put a t-shirt or a hat in the system and print on it. On the Eufy Make, you can kind of do that. They have like a flexible print system, and that's what they're saying here, that with UV curable inks, they tend to be quite hard and quite brittle. So when you put them on a flexible material like fabric, it's going to not take those stresses of bending very well and basically just crumble and chip off, and it's not meant for them. But you can do a different type of DTF, which is, I think in this case, direct to film, which is to create transferable stickers. So you can print it on a sticker sheet, and then you can transfer that to other hard surfaces that might be round and not easily printed on the machine itself, but still not for fabric. So you're not going to get a sticker and then go put it on a hat. So this is not a garment printing machine, which kind of goes into the next question: can it print DTF for garments or do DTG? The machine does not support DTF for garments or DTG printing. It uses UV curable inks, which is designed for printing on hard surfaces such as wood, acrylic, metal, etc., not fabrics. For garment printing, DTF and DTG require different ink systems and processes, water-based inks and fabric-specific workflows. This machine instead supports UV DTF, which is used to create those transferable stickers for hard materials, not textiles. I kind of expanded on this in the previous answer, but no, you're not going to be using this machine to print on hats or shirts or cloth materials. You can do stickers, but this is for sticking onto hard materials, again, not for textiles or fabric. And it also mentions that different ink systems and work processes, such as water-based inks, meaning that they don't have, or what sounds like they don't have, a flexible ink system for this machine. And then our final question from the community: what is the workflow process for going from laser to DTF stickers? And the answer here is typically UV DTF sticker workflow is you print the design onto a UV DTF release film using UV printing. You apply the transverse film, which is through a lamination machine, and then you peel and transfer the sticker onto the target surface. So UV DTF stickers equals print plus laminate. There's no laser required. Okay, so that's all the questions from everyone in the community. Thank you for sending them in. Well, I think that's enough information for now. I hope it's answered some questions that people had. I hope it's made you excited for this machine. Let me know in the comments if any of this information has swayed you towards looking at this machine as potential purchase, or maybe you still have concerns that laser and UV in the one machine just shouldn't mix. Like I said earlier, the Kickstarter should be launching, according to them, in late April, which could be as early as next week. There are links in the description of the video. There is a early sign up where you can potentially get the best sign up deal if you go through that and register your email and get notified of the Kickstarter launch when it's coming up. And I do hope to do content on this machine when it's released, or at least as the Kickstarter is warming up. I am sort of working with Procolored to potentially get one of these machines in the studio and be able to play with and directly answer the people's questions by having the machine here ready to use. We'll just have to see how that all comes about. I was meant to get the machine earlier, but there was that slight delay, and so I'm just sort of waiting for things to clarify on that. So fingers crossed I get a machine. Please watch the video, because the more people that watch the video, the more chance I'm going to get one of these machines, and then we can really see what this machine can all do together. So thank you again so much for your questions. This has been a fun video to do. Thank you for watching. If you found value in this video, then please consider subscribing to the channel, liking the video, and thanks for watching.